Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi Bahashem Rakakradash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, pushing this word across the four corners of the world. So as you already know, what's transpiring within current news, current events, with the ongoing conflicts between Russia, Ukraine, and now you have with the state of Israel and Iran. So all of that ongoing conflicts are sending like shockwaves around the world, and a lot of people globally are fearing about imminent World War III. And the reason why I say it's imminent because it associates with end-time biblical prophecies. Because when you read Revelation, the 11th chapter and the 14th verse, it's stated how the second woe is past, which goes into World War II, and behold, the third woe, which goes into World War III, coming quickly. And that's definitely aligning up with the times that we are currently in. And we already know as the hopeful elect by the gift of prophecy of what type of biblical prophecies has to come into fruition before World War III actually be enacted. Hence the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, being globally implemented via a global digital paradigm. However, you can see the mindset of these foreign countries and their military and how they are getting more military prep compared to these soldiers within America, with their folly all on social media and being feminine at that. So if we as common civilians are shaking our heads at that type of madness, what do you think that these other foreign countries or enemies of America are thinking about seeing these American soldiers being within that unprepped mindset when war is all in the air? And we are seeing the after effects when the wicked bear rule, which is the tabernacle of Esau Edom, the man of sin, that unwise king. And we are witnessing the ripple effects when this unwise king is sitting in that power seat of rulership. And that takes me right to Proverbs 29 verse 18 within the NLT, and that's the New Living Translation. When people do not accept divine guidance, and that's by being instructed by Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi via the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, they run wild. And again, that goes back into what particular nation is globally within rulership. It has to be the so-called Caucasian race, who happens to be the biblical Edomites. And by default, they are a degenerate nation that is despised by our creator, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. So by Esau's negative vibration, which consists of by being uncivilized because he's not divinely guided by a higher power, and I mean by that, by upkeeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, which brings forth morality, equity, justice, growth, balance, and righteousness. So without that standard, you're going to have the people running wild, being uncivilized, having that do-it-stop-wilt spirit, being sexually liberated, like having no types of limits to your conducts, your mannerisms, your behaviors, which is pure wickedness. So when the people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild. And this American society is a very wild society. It's degenerate and vile by nature. But whoever obeys the law is joyful. And let's link that with Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 1 to 3. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. And that's only going to be by the standard of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi given to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that will be the new rulers within the next kingdom to come, which is the kingdom of heaven. And with that method, by applying the protocols of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, you're going to see a well-ordered system, a paradigm. Verse 2. As the judge of the people is himself, in this case, Esau Edom, the man of sin, so are his officers. And you just saw a brief example of his military officers, like what type of mindset that they are in, parading around like a ballerina on social media, and where they are not spiritually inclined to know that America is in a time of war. So as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So all of this degeneracy that's running rampant within this American society, within today's time, is just a reflection of who Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi appointed within that power seat of rulership, which happens to be the tabernacle of Esau Edom. And that's why I stated within the book of Proverbs 29 verse 26, how many seek the ruler's favor. Like anyone within this American society that's for this current fashion of this world, they are nothing but byproducts of so-called white supremacy, which is nothing but Edomite supremacy. So again, this type of foul behavior is just like a reflection of Esau's true character, which is immoral by nature. Verse 3, an unwise king destroyed his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city should be inhabited. So just going back to the point by Esau Edom being that unwise king, because he discredited the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, as is stated within the book of Psalm, the 50th chapter and 17th verse, how he hated instruction and he cast the Most High's words behind him. So therefore that will make you unwise by the Creator giving you his method of maintaining his creation, but you want to neglect that and just do your own thing, which is obviously not working for the best interests of the inhabitants of the earth. Which is beautiful to see this wealthy nation that dwelleth without care, referencing to America, and how these other nations are seeing you or witnessing your shameful spewing, which is defined as a state of extreme disgrace or humiliation. And that's good for you proudful Americans. And that takes me right to Habakkuk 2 and 15 within the NLT. What sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk? You force your cup on them so you can gloat over their shameful nakedness. And how do you make these other nations drunk? By that Babylonian wine. Your Americanization or your Westernization, your democracy, which all defines moral decay. And let's get right quick. Revelation, the 17th chapter and the 2nd verse, also within the NLT, the kings of the world have committed adultery with her, and the kings of this world are going into these international bankers who steal from the tabernacle of Esau Edom, who are known as these so-called secret societies, this shadow government. So the kings of the world have committed adultery with her, and that's going into America, aka Babylon the Great. And the people who belong to this world have been made drunk by the wine of her immorality. And again, it all traces back into that unwise king that's sitting in the power seat of rulership. Look how he's mismanaging everything. And that's why he's known as the slumlord of the earth. All right, so jumping back to Habakkuk 2 and 15 with an NLT. What sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk? You force your cup on them so you can gloat over their shameful nakedness. Verse 16, but soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. So now these other nations are seeing that shameful spewing upon America's so-called glory. Hence slavery, your hidden secrets of pedophilia, child trafficking, and just related to this video, your military so-called men dancing like women on social media. So again, it says, but soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. And everybody around the world is seeing that shameless activity and behavior from you proudful Americans, because you are globally getting exposed. And that's the spirit right here. It says, come, drink, and be exposed. Drink from the cup of the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi's judgment, and all your glory will be turned to shame. And a part of that shame, when you read right here within Isaiah 19 verse 16, and it says, in that day the Egyptians, referring to you modern Americans, will be as weak as women. Hit some of these military men parading around like women, and just really America as a whole society. A lot of these so-called men are very feminine, very emotional, impulsive, which is all feminine energy. So in that day, the Egyptians would be as weak as women. They will cower in fear beneath the upraised fists of the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi of heaven's armies. Verse 17, just to speak the name of Israel will terrorize them, for the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi of heaven's armies has laid out his plans against them. So the Creator himself and his only begotten Son, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, are in odds with America. And that's why America is known as Babylon the Great. And that's that main focal point of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi's judgment. And just going back to that second video, it was entitled on there, World War III starts in 2 days. Meanwhile, black people, as you can see, Jake just dancing, having a so-called time of their lives. And we already know like World War III is not going to start like that, but it's building up to it, as you can see within current news. Also, another major biblical prophecy has to come into fruition, which is the implementation of the MOTB. And again, that's the RFID technology, the microchip. But you can see that America is definitely on that verge of World War III. And that's raising a lot of concerns globally onto these other nations. And also within America, for the majority part. But as you can see, the mindset as a whole with our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans, it's like you all are programmed to not take things serious until it's too late. And that's going to be your demise at the end of the day. And that takes me right to Jeremiah 8, verse 7. Yea, the stork in the heaven knoweth her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. And these are birds, by the way. The stork, the turtle, the crane, and the swallow. And they are spiritually inclined to know when they see that bad weather coming and to migrate out of that land for better safety and shelter. However, the 2/3 of our people within America, it says right here, but my people know not the judgment of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. Like for the vast majority part, our people are not spiritually prepped for these catastrophic events that's coming to America very soon. Hence the times of Jacob's trouble. And not even being alarmed that it's a world's war brewing up at this very moment. Hence World War III. And if they do believe that World War III is coming, then they believe it's going to be many years down the road. Like not within this so-called generation. And their mistake by thinking that and not taking heed unto the true and righteous prophets within these latter times is going to be their demise, which is ultimately their fate. So with that, hopefully you all was edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.